Hello, and welcome to Week 6 of Integrating Technologies. Let's get on with the overview. First, since we've completed the second part of the course, the one related to social media, I would appreciate it if you could go take an anonymous survey on that section of the course. It's very similar to the one that we did for the first section of the course, and it will just give me an idea of how I might improve things in the future. So as I said, this section related to social media and specifically how to mine resources for a teacher and for how to connect with colleagues. So that was our focus, and I'd appreciate information on how this section did in relation to that. So you could include a review of the platforms that we did discuss, maybe suggest some platforms that might be useful that we didn't discuss, and then review the focus. In other words, we focused on resources and connections, but is there something else we should be doing in the small amount of time we have to devote to it? And then just generally suggest any changes, modifications, or what worked particularly well and what should definitely be included in the future. Okay, first let's talk about why we're going to focus so heavily on this Chrome environment. And there are two reasons. One is that the Google tools are very seriously integrated. In other words, it's very easy to use them together. So things, if I'm using one Google tool, I can easily save into Drive, I can insert it into a Google Doc, a variety of different things. And not only are they well integrated now, but Google continues to develop these tools, and they only get better integrated as time goes on. Second reason is there's lots of educational uses for this. So the tools are just, a lot of them are particularly well suited to the educational environment. What I'd like to discuss today is the difference between Google's apps and extensions. Now, apps and extensions are things that we can add in, usually through the Google browser, but not always, and they just give us additional capabilities. Some of these are quite significant, some of these are simple but make our lives easier and are well worth using. So let's talk about apps first. For something to be an app, it should have major new functionality. Now, in Google Chrome, in our browser, we can't do image editing. We can't adjust pictures, eliminate red eye, seriously crop images, construct new images. So an app would add, or an image editing app would add all of that functionality. Because it has so many unique things that it can do, it comes with a unique user interface. So when we open up an app, it's like a program. It's like we've installed Photoshop or some other program on our computer. It has its own tools and it does something very significant. By comparison, an extension often does something very simple. An example might be a Pinterest button. So we add this button through an extension to our browser, and then we can just click on that button and pin things into our Pinterest space. Okay, extensions often have little to no user interface, or if there is one, it's very simple, such as the addition of a button. That's very, very common. So the definition of an extension, or the description of an extension, would include that it's much simpler functionality that has little to no user interface. And of course there are lots of technical differences for developers and people who are actually writing these things, but for us that's the important thing to know. This week we'll be conducting a series of activities, and there are five videos that I'd like you to watch. Now, I know that at times I've given you a sampling of different things and people may have explored them to greater or lesser extents. But this week, I would like you to watch all five of the videos that's in addition to this overview. I've taken some care to try to make them shorter So a lot of them are quite a bit shorter than some of the other videos we've presented in the past. And I would like you then to install and use all 5 of these extensions. So this is not a choice thing or a sampling type of thing in this case. And the reason is that the 5 extensions, they're actually all extensions, that we're going to be using this week are for managing your environment. So they're all for making it easier for you to install and manage your other apps and extensions, or at least most of them are. And they all are very general tools, and they're a good idea to take a look at. So we'd like you to do that during this week's activities. And we have 3 assignments this week. One is I'd like you to take the Part 2 survey and give me some feedback. That should hopefully only take you about 5 or 10 minutes, and I would really appreciate it. There is a quiz that follows the 7 videos, and it's a 20-question quiz, and it's taking particulars out of those particular videos. What I think are some of the more important things to know about those 5 particular extensions that you're going to be using. Now, with the quiz, you'll be able to take it up to 3 times. So when you complete it, it will give you a score. It will even tell you which ones you have done incorrectly, so that you can focus your energies there. But you'll then need to go back and review those videos or do some type of web search, or basically find out where you went wrong on the quiz. You can take it up to 3 times. I will look at the time stamps as to when you submitted them, and I will take the higher of the 3. So don't worry if the second one was a 95 and the third one was an 85, then the second one would count. What I won't do is combine the correct answers from multiple quizzes. So whatever the total score on the highest quiz is will be your score for this assignment. The third assignment to get started on, and I think there's a generous amount of time to complete it, is the Web Store App Extension Search assignment. And this is designed simply to give you some experience with using the web store, how to find things you're looking for. I know that a lot of times I run across a situation, there's something that I'd like to be able to do. And so I've gotten into the habit of simply visiting the store and seeing if that's available. And very often it is. Sometimes it's not exactly what I want, or sometimes it may take 2 extensions to kind of get the job done. But there's an awful lot available there, and it grows all the time. So knowing how to navigate that environment is important. Okay, the Web Store App Extension Search assignment. The directions in Rubric are located on the Moodle, so look for those. Those will give you details about how to do this. But essentially what the assignment is to search the web store for apps and extensions related to one of 4 of the following. So you're going to be searching for screen capture capability, video capture capability, image editing, or whiteboards. And you don't need to do all 4. You can pick one. You can kind of explore around the different ones and decide which one you want to focus on. And then you're going to install and use a couple of the apps that are related to that particular topic. Finally, you're going to present your experiences with those particular apps, and there'll be a lot of latitude in how you do that. You can write it up simply as like a paper or an article, just type it up in words. You can do it as a presentation. You can do it as a video. And if there are other ways that you'd like to do it, other tools that you'd like to use somewhere out there on the web, as long as you meet the requirements of the presentation, and presentation I'm using in a very general sense, that the mode for doing that is totally up to you, and I encourage you to use whatever you're comfortable with, or something you think might be particularly effective, or maybe something you'd just like to try out. Use it as an opportunity to try out something you haven't used, you've heard about, or you've used in a limited way. Quick review of the rubric, the types of things we'll be looking for in that discussion or presentation. We'd like you to describe the capabilities of the particular app or extension that you eventually settle on. Tell us about the pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, so a general review type of thing. Compare it to similar apps and extensions. So you've looked at a couple of others, at least one other or two others in a related field, and why did you choose this one over the others? Give us a brief description of the educational opportunities available through this, and take it from both a teacher standpoint and a student standpoint. So is this something that students could be introduced to and that would benefit them in their own use? Is it something that you as a teacher would benefit from in designing and creating lessons and managing your own workflow? Or is it something that's a benefit to you as a teacher in actual lessons interacting with students? Okay, best uses and practices, if you can make some suggestions or recommendations concerning how you see this best used. I'd like you to visit during this process, I'd like you to, even when you preview your several apps, I'd like you to also go to the Related tab in the web store. If you're not sure what that is, just watch the videos. Obviously, it's depicted there. And that's going to show you not only other apps that do the same things, but things that might be related to it. And we'd like just a quick mention of the types of things that were included there, and if you see any value in those. And then just mention whether it should be used alone, if it can stand alone by itself, or if there's a particular advantage to using it with other apps. Okay, that concludes our overview. Please go on and watch all 7 of the videos this week and get on with your assignments. If you have any questions or need any help with anything, please email me. I'll get back to you just as quickly as I can.